I was wondering if you ever had the chance to meet King Kong Bundy. I remember watching him feud with the Junkyard Dog as well as others. I don't hear many people talk about him, and I would love to hear you share a story about him if you have any.
I definitely have met King Kong Bundy a number of times. I haven't seen him, as a matter of fact. I haven't seen him recently or in the past few years now, I come to think of it. But we have crossed paths in the WWF for a period of time, one of his later runs, one of my earlier ones. But he had been in Mid-South Wrestling. As a matter of fact, here's my favorite Bundy story. I wasn't even there, but it became legend in the Mid-South Wrestling locker room. Two things. Number one, a promo that Ernie Ladd cut on, and Bundy ended up, this was when he was green. He'd only been in the business a couple years. I think it was his first run on top as King Kong Bundy, and it managed by, I believe, Gerald Scandal Akbar. But anyway, he would later on go on to become, one of Hulk Hogan's signature opponents and a huge star. But at the time he was green. And Ernie Ladd was the booker in Mid-South right before we all came down from Tennessee. And he had been cutting a promo one time on Bundy. And he was just, Bundy, you big fat piece of shit. We bring you in here. We bring guys in to get you over. And what do? You dumb yourself right out of position. Some dumb thing that Bundy had done on TV or whatever that Ernie Ladd just thought it just buried him, right? You dumb yourself right out of position. And there was another, Bundy's 500 pounds or whatever he was, it's huge, right? And in Shreveport at the auditorium, he's coming back from the ring, and it was the Mid-South fans, right? And they were hot. And this one guy, and they said it was comical because he was probably a foot shorter and 300 pounds lighter than Bundy, but he just dove out of the audience and jumped on him and was just hammering him. And Bundy blowed up, coming back from the ring, never saw it coming. This guy's wailing on him, and Grizzly Smith jumped off the stage, 7 foot and 350 pounds or whatever, jumped off the stage and went and pulled the guy off of Bundy. So they ribbed him unmercifully that he was getting his ass kicked by a guy 300 pounds lighter than him until Grizzly retired, and doing acrobatics, jumping off the stage of the auditorium, had to pull the guy off of him. But no, Bundy was a real nice guy, and I always enjoyed working with him or around him.
I have to say, out of all the Dennis Carluzzo shows I was in the locker room for, he was probably the loudest and most obnoxious guy there.
Yeah, and on some of Dennis's shows, I forgot. Yeah, that's where I saw him a lot. But he was loud and obnoxious in a fun old time wrestling way. He had that big booming voice, and everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was just like everybody's going, "Shut up, Bundy." It was contributing to the entertainment.
The interesting thing about him is he is someone who, with hair and then without hair, was involved in some pretty big things when you really look back on it. Fritz von Erich's retirement match in '82 at Texas Stadium was against King Kong Bundy. And then he goes to Mid-South, he goes to Memphis, he goes to Georgia. He's involved in a lot of things. He was a member of the Legion of Doom, actually, at one time. He's involved in WrestleMania 1. He main events WrestleMania 2 against Hogan. And then shortly, I guess, into 1988, he's gone. He does some computer ads. He was on Married with Children. And he really disappeared from wrestling until he came back to the WWF in, the mid-90s?
Yeah, at that point. And then didn't stay incredibly long at that point. And I think he just, he made a lot of money, probably kept it, was trying to do the acting thing. He was on Married with Children. And, maybe he did the bug left him for a while.
He was in that Richard Pryor movie, too. Wasn't he? Moving?
Yes. Yeah. And a bunch of he would pop up on television and or movies on a pretty regular basis for those few years.